Hello, Taurus. My name is Jen, and I do something called spirit sketches, and I've been guided to provide a spirit guide sketch for each zodiac for the month. So those of you that have Taurus in your sun, moon, or rising of your natal chart, this is for you. And I always begin by saying a prayer on the paper. I ask Spirit to guide my hands in drawing the face most beneficial for Taurus, sun, moon, and or rising, for the highest good of all concerned. And so it is. Thank you. So I am intuitively drawn to specific colors during my process, and I layer the chalk pastels. And then I begin to see a face, and I pull those features out with my charcoal pencils when I begin to see the face. And I transmit the messages that I'm getting as I draw. So the first thing, when I meditated on those with Taurus in their chart, was a lot of forward moving energy. Like I actually could feel energetically like this whoosh from the back of me. So I'm getting the sense that you either have or will release a lot of something this month. And it's going to create a really strong push forward. So there may be things that have been holding you back in different areas of your life. And obviously, take this however it resonates. This is a collective reading, so it may not completely resonate, but what I was seeing is that there are things that, like I said, either you just released or you will be releasing, and that creates a momentum forward. That creates a lot of, like there was a lot of resistance, and then once you released, this could be a release of emotions, this could be a release of a relationship, this could be a release of a job. It runs the gamut as to all the different ways, we release things out of our life. It could even be a change in locations, like a change in where you live, releasing an old, home. There's lots of different ways that it can apply, but essentially you're releasing something, or you're being called to release something, and that in doing so, you're going to create a lot of forward moving energy in your life, and it's going to push you very fast. Like I felt like very fast in nature, meaning that you will begin to see things kind of click into place pretty quickly once you release it. Once you really make the decision to say, okay, enough's enough, like this is not serving me, and I'm going to now let go so that I can make room for what wants to come in, what's more in alignment for me. And it's kind of like you can't expect to fill a space, so here's an example I'm being shown. It's kind of like if you have a room that you are, like a catch-all room where you like use it as storage and you just keep putting stuff in that room, but then you realize, oh, I want to use that room as a bedroom or whatnot, and you decide to clear it and purge and maybe donate stuff that was in that room. And that way you have the space to put new things, new furniture, a totally new environment within that space. And so that is basically what I'm seeing right now for you, is that you're needing to clear out that room in order to put a new set of, experiences within, basically. So let's see here. Starting to see an eye. Usually I see the eyes first. So yeah, there could be a lot of emotional things that occurred within the last few months or so. Or it could be that there were things that triggered recently, some things that triggered old memories up to the surface. So sometimes that will happen as well, where maybe the circumstances in our life aren't necessarily super heavy, but something that is current triggers something that happened from the past. And because of that, we are then given the opportunity to release it. And we're able to then move forward, because oftentimes things that we are holding that we may not even realize we're holding will be triggered. And so that's why it's always good to have gratitude even when we are triggered, because it's giving us the opportunity to see that it was actually somewhere deep inside of us, and maybe we had no idea it was even there. And then something happens, somebody says something, or somebody cuts us off in traffic, or whatever it might be. Something happens, it could be something really simple or really complicated, but something happens that triggers us, and we are all of a sudden confronted with emotions that have to do with something that happened from the past. And sometimes it doesn't, sometimes we're not able to really connect the dots right away. Sometimes it's not clear that actually this triggering is, from something that happened when you were a child. And it takes a little reflection to really kind of realize okay, this is where this is coming from. But then once you do that, once you kind of untangle all of that and you realize where it's coming from and what it is that you're being asked to release, then you're given the opportunity to release it, whether it's crying or talking about it with someone, or drawing a picture if you're an artist, or even if you're not an artist, it's drawing. You can draw a picture, or you could paint a picture. You don't have to make it look pretty. I'm a process arts facilitator, and I actually run workshops sometimes for people to make art, regardless if they're an artist or not, to release emotions and process emotions. So you could always draw a picture, and it could be abstract, it could be representational, it doesn't matter. But sometimes just getting shapes, figures, colors on paper or canvas really helps us kind of untangle in the brain psychologically what's happening. And so finding an outlet, finding a way to express and release. Some people love to exercise. That's another way I really love to release any kind of energy that's not serving me, even if it's just from the day, stress. Exercise, art, there's lots of different, talking to a friend. There's lots of different ways to release things that are in our, that are inhabiting our system. And so finding an outlet is so key. And then once you do that, then you're making so much space for all this new energy to come in. Okay, so I'm obviously starting to get the beginnings of a face here. And it's definitely feminine energy. It's very strong, but very nurturing. I'm getting the sense that this woman here was a single mother, and she really she had a lot on her shoulders, so she had to juggle quite a bit, because she was not only, when you're a single parent, not always, sometimes you have help, of course, from your your ex-partner, but in this particular case, I'm seeing that her partner was not involved at all. And so she took on the role of both the father role and the mother role all in one. So she had no help. And again, gender, it doesn't have to be gender specific, of course, but essentially she took on the role of taking care of her children, nurturing her children, all on herself. There was no help outside of herself. And so she had to prioritize, really prioritize her time and her energy. And so what I'm getting as the message from this guide for all of you people with Taurus is to prioritize what it is you keep within your sphere of energy. So that could be, what do you, relationships. It could be like all these different things that hold space in our life, relationships, job, home life, all of these things. We choose, how we interact with all of them. And what I'm seeing, or what she's coming in to talk about here, is to prioritize what is serving you and what is not serving you. Because whatever is not serving you is actually holding you back from things that you would prefer. So really kind of, being honest with yourself about this, because sometimes we will keep things around because we think that there's no other way, or, we feel trapped, and there's always another way. It's just maybe not clear right away, but it's sometimes it becomes clear once you do release it. Sometimes you're not going to understand what's, the how, because sometimes it's a matter of releasing it before you can understand the how. And so what I'm getting is that to just have faith and to trust that if something does not serve you, something does not feel right, to trust to let it go, because it's making you feel that way for a reason. And maybe it's there to show you something that needs to be healed. And in doing so, you can release it more readily. So by releasing whatever this is, whether it's a relationship or a job or whatnot, by releasing that actual circumstance in your current life, you're also actually clearing past situations that weren't serving you. Because by holding on to that current situation, you were actually creating or kind of buying into that belief that there was no other way and that you had to settle for whatever it was that was in your situation. And when you release it, you're essentially telling your psyche, you're telling the energy around you, no, this is not what I want for myself. This is not what I want in my life. And this will create, more alignment with what it is you're looking for. So real beautiful energy here. She's, like I said, very, very strong. I get the sense that she lived kind of like in, I want to say like biblical times, I guess, is kind of what I'm seeing. Like I'm seeing like big jugs of water being carried on heads, and not that has to necessarily be biblical times, but just like a desert, and just a very simple life where you have to do everything by hand. So, washing clothes in a river, that type of thing. So she had to really kind of be clear as to what she would allow in and what she would, to manage her time and space in a way that could serve her best. So I'm going to add more details to this lovely guide. But if you are interested in a personal reading or a print of this guide or any of the other guides, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And please like, share, and subscribe. It makes me so happy when I see those. It really, really does. It really just, it's kind of, I'm doing all of these readings, and it makes it all, just makes it really fulfilling when I see people responding. So if you're able to do that, that would make me so happy. And I will see you later in next month's reading. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will have her picture posted at the end of the video, so tune into that. And I hope you have an amazing month of March. Thank you so much, Taurus.